Hello. Good morning, or evening, or indeed even afternoon. It really depends where you are in the world. I hope everyone is having a pleasant Wednesday. The penultimate stream before the big day, I think. Today, and then hopefully Sunday. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, a few of the regulars rolling in. I guess if you're new here, welcome, hello. We've been slowly building out, well, attempting to build out a game from scratch, or from as much from scratch as I can stomach. We've used a few small libraries here and there, but I'd say at least the rendering is from scratch. This is kind of where we got to last time. We got ourselves a little scene, and then we got some little controls, so we can like move lights around now. It's a little bit more dynamic. We can like take this light, change the color, move it around, make that a little bit brighter, make that a little bit more pink. Move around, and then we can kind of also freely move around the scene, move around here, bring up our controls, be like, no, actually, I want to change this light again, move it around, etc., etc. So, this is kind of where we got to last time. I think we'll be, we've been promising for a while that we will get onto model loading, and I think today, hopefully, is the day. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it's a couple of thousand lines of code, so it's not too bad, but we're getting there. So I think before we dive into the model loading, because we're going to have to bring in a library for that, I'm definitely not going to be passing my... Basically, I think the kind of rough rule I've got for myself is I don't really want to be passing existing file formats. It doesn't sound like... I don't feel there's like a lot to be had or learnt from that. You know, it's just implementing a spec. So we'll probably bring in a library to pass some models. I've got some models that I've had knocking around on, that I bought on CG Trader on a sale a while ago, so we'll probably try and bring those in. They are not necessarily representative of the game that we're going to make, but I think it's enough to kind of bring us something in and make something a little more interesting than all these boxes. However, before we start, logging. Everyone, I guess if you're kind of new here, I thought, when I start this, I'll write my own logging library in modern C++. How hard can it be? And it turns out a lot harder than I thought it would be, because we have quite a few interesting bugs in there. Anyway, someone emailed me and said that they've been reproducing the logging code and that it doesn't work on Clang, which I thought was incredibly interesting. So I've got here a rough... I just kind of want to go through this super quick because I think it's really interesting. It was a kind of an interesting dive into like the weeds of the language. This, don't worry too much about the code. This is basically an approximation of what we've written before, where it has a struct called print, and then it takes some stuff in the constructor, and then here in order for us to be able to have a defaulted last argument, but also a variable number of template arguments, we had to use a deduction guide, which basically says, anything that you pass into the parameters should form part of the template parameters, which effectively kind of leaves the last one open to be defaulted at a super high level. Like, I'm kind of glossing over it a little bit. But, so this is, for anyone who's not seen this before, this is Godbolt. This is an online compiler tool. It allows you to sort of compile your thing across multiple compilers and different options. This is GCC, and it's absolutely fine. This is MSVC, and it's absolutely fine. This is Clang, and these are all latest, by the way, the trunk builds. Clang's like, nope, I do not like this code. The deduction guide template contains a template parameter that cannot be deduced. And I was like, what? Sorry. So I thought that was a bit interesting. So I went into the spec, and I found this in one of my favourite sections, temp.param, section, chapter 4, subsection 14, one of my favourites. A template parameter of a deduction guide template that does not have a default argument shall be deducible from the parameter type list of the deduction guide template. And I stared at that for a bit, not really, like trying to divine what it means. And basically what it means is that all the template arguments here must be given as the parameters, and L, which is what we use as our sort of almost like a tag dispatch as our logging level, is not. It's not in this parameter list. We just sort of slap it in there. So I think Clang is right, and GCC and MSVC are wrong. I think we just kind of got lucky that MSVC accepts this. It's either the program is either ill-formed, in which case the compiler doesn't have to issue a warning, or MSVC has just incorrectly implemented the spec. It's kind of hard to say. But Clang is pretty much never wrong. It's a bold claim. I think they're all equally right and wrong. My experience is that they are all sort of somewhere equally right and wrong. I think Clang is pretty strict on it. It's pretty good, but there's definitely cases where I've seen where GCC has been wrong. Anyway, again, staring at this for a little bit longer, it actually tells you what the answer is. It says that does not have a default argument. So if you just make this into a default value, then all the compilers like, cool, legit, let's get on with it. So that's kind of the solution to that problem. So we'll go and quickly change ours a bit so it's compliant, because what I don't want is for MSVC in a future build to fix this potential bug or be strict on the spec, and then all of a sudden we upgrade our compiler and it no longer builds. Yeah, I'm using MSVC with WL and W4, but that's got nothing to do with its implementation of the spec. This is not... if it's ill-defined, then the compiler is not required to tell you, which is great. Anyway, I thought that was a fun aside. A little amuse-bouche into the start of the stream with reading the standard. So if we just open up our log, I believe we can. In fact, actually, this is funny. I've just realised this. ClangD has actually complained about this, and I didn't realise. But then because we compile with MSVC, it's been fine. So that's actually, I should have noticed that. So that's, the answer was there the whole time. So that should sort us out. Hello, Julian. Hello. Cool. Okay, so we've future-proofed ourselves. What could possibly go wrong? Like fix weird log template issue. Not great. Not one of my best commit messages. I think that's even spelled wrong. Fix that later. Okay. Yeah, it compiles fine because I'm not compiling with Clang. Anyway, a brief interlude, I say. I think I'm going to use FBX because that's just what I've got, but I'm going to use Assimp, which is for better or worse, is a pretty common library for loading basically almost all 3D file formats. People have their opinions on it. It's alright. It's good. It's enough for what we want to do. There are some issues around the speed of it, I believe, but I suspect when we actually get further down the line, we'll create more of a like an ASIP pipeline, and we'll probably create our own file format, which will be basically just serializing our internal structure, and then we'll just read those in, and then maybe compress them as well. So I'm not too worried about using Assimp to kind of get us going. It might not be what we ship, but it will be enough for us to kind of debug around with. I have no idea whether it's the FBX binary or not. It's literally whatever I downloaded from CG Trader. We'll open up a mail and have a look. Okay, the prerequisite to this is we've got a mesh class, and the mesh class is currently hard-coded to a cube, which is not great. I think we need to abstract this out first. Basically, we're probably going to have a fixed vertex data, so all of our meshes will have the same vertex data at least to start with. I don't fancy making mesh more generic at the moment, but I do want to remove this hard-coded mess. I do want to move this into a separate, mesh loader class, which can have some sort of internal cache as well. So if we want to create multiple, this doesn't matter because this is const expert, but if we wanted to load the same mesh multiple times, we wouldn't have to pass the file and do all that. It will just internally cache out and just give you a new non-owning reference to it. Yeah, the designator initializer, I sometimes call it, I'm sure it's got another name as well sometimes, but the designator initializer, which has been in C forever, this came in C++20, and it's actually quite nice. Although I'm actually going to break this apart today and split all these out into separate arrays, because for anyone who's been on the stream before, every time I change vertex data, so say I need to add a new parameter to it, I have to rebuild all this, and it's just a lot of formatting and misery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of template magic, a little bit of ranges magic to make this, I think, a little bit more composable from the various parts. The difference between the C and the C++ one is C++ cares about the order that you define them in, because they might have some sort of reliance on each other and constructors and destructors and all that sort of rubbish, whereas C doesn't, because it doesn't have those concepts. You can declare them in any order and it doesn't care, so that's one of the differences. We're technically on WSL, but I'm building for Windows because I've got a wine build of MSVC. Right, I think there's enough gas in. Let's start writing some code. So let's go for a model. What are we thinking? Loader? I tried to avoid manager, but loader kind of suggests it's just going to be loading from files. I do wonder if model manager might be, but we'll go for model loader because I've already typed it out. We can change it later. So class model loader. I'm basically just going to abstract out what we've got so far, and then we'll bring in like actually loading a model. I get, so would it make sense to compile with Clang? I prefer to build on like the more native platform that I'm shipping with. So if we're going to ship for Windows, I'd rather build with MSVC. Ultimately, you should build with multiple. Ideally, if possible, you should build with multiple compilers because they, as we've seen, they will give you different errors and different diagnostics. So I should really just pay closer attention to what ClangD is saying because I'm effectively getting the Clang compilation for free with the tooling anyway. But yeah, it's just MSVC was what we're using. So let's go with, so we're going to want in here our vertex data, and then we're going to want for a span and cstd int, I guess. I haven't really thought too much. Someone's asking how much prep I do for these things. It kind of varies. For this one, I've not done a lot of prep. I'm kind of going to figure out the API as we go along. How hard would it be to write your own C++ compiler? I think web browsers, operating systems, and compilers are the three hardest projects you could probably think to do, and I think C++ specifically because C++ is basically just what you get with C++ is a 2,000 page document which tells you what to do, and you'd have to implement all 2,000 pages. I mean, obviously these are all kind of nested and stuff, but like it is a big language with lots of room for error. I would not even begin to think about how to write a C++ compiler like today. That's why there's only like 3 of them. Well, 3 main ones. There's obviously like the Intel one and a few others. No, I've not tried Sokol before, but I've heard of it. Okay, so let's create a struct. Let's go mesh data, and let's have in here a std span of. I kind of want mesh loader to be non-owning, like it should be, if you want to just get some mesh data, then it should, if it's already cached, it should be quick to return it. So I don't really want to keep copying around like massive vectors of vertex data. So let's do a span of const vertex data, and that'll be vertices, and then let's do a span of unit 32t, and that will be the indices. So my current thinking is that the model loader will own the actual data for these, and then when you ask for when you kind of ask for a mesh, then it will just return you a span, as in like a view into that data you've already loaded. Yes, there's a spell typo. There's extra, I mean, it's Vim, so there's always extra keystrokes. A lot of them are just kind of like me hitting escape to go back to normal mode, and then like :W to save it, and then a few other pieces. So we're going to want, I think we're going to want like an internal struct of actually the loaded data, right? So let's do struct loaded mesh. I feel like I'm conflating mesh and model as well, so maybe we should be consistent. Let's be consistent and go model data. I'm sure there's a difference, or there's at least like a perceived difference to some people. So this will be what's actually loaded. So this will be the std. So this will be the vector. Vector vertex data, vertices, and then we'll have a std uint. Nope, vector of std uint 32t indices. Okay. Get there in a minute. Oh, Christ, right. I have not mapped escape to caps lock. No, I know some people do that. I've just not done it. Never done it. Okay, so I think we're going to want to bring in as well our string map, which we wrote a few streams ago. This is, I guess for anyone new or interested, this is just an unordered map, so a hash map or hash table, where the first element is always a string, and then it's to some arbitrary type. The value is some arbitrary type. However, there's a whole bunch of miserable boilerplate to get what's called heterogeneous lookup, which means we can, for certain operations, they are faster with using effectively string literals and string views. Like, I guess the details, if you're interested, it's one of the past streams. Okay, so then we can do string map loaded model data is what? Loaded models. Yeah, this is NVim. I use VS Code with Vim bindings for ages, but I just quite like the tmux. I don't actually use tmux to its fullest on this because I only have 2 panes, but like work and stuff, I'm always like creating new panes, splitting them, moving stuff around, and just like it's such a nice workflow for me. Congratulations, first hash table in C. Did you write it yourself, or was it a third-party library? What was your hashing function? I think like the beauty of Vim, right, is you can kind of make it what you want. I try and keep it as like vanilla as possible, just because I find the defaults are pretty good, but I make a few changes. Like the main change in my setup is, I mean, it's not for Vim, it's for tmux, is to map the control B to control A, because I think control B is egregious. Okay, so let's return. So model data is pretty lightweight now, so we can return that by value. That's fine, and then let's do cube, and I think that can be const, because what we'll do is in the model. Let's do it lazily. Actually, we'll do it. First time you call cube, it will insert the data. And then on future ones, it'll just return it. So we'll just do like a lazy load on the first call, and that will keep it consistent with all of them. What do I think about people who make cheats for games? I am firmly against cheating, especially in like online games where it kind of ruins the enjoyment for others. If you want to mess around with a program that's running on your PC, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind that. But people who cheat in multiplayer games are the worst. Like, just because you're bad at a game doesn't mean you should ruin the enjoyment for other people. Hot take. So let's bring in model loader dot h namespace the game. And I think I probably want all those. And then we can start. Oh, hang on, I've not been writing on this for a few days, so I've I thought that looked weird. I have my NeoVim config public on my GitHub. I will try and remember to post a link to it later, but if you go onto the YouTube page and go scroll back on the community tab, it's a public community post somewhere, so it's definitely kind of not too hard to get. So yeah, obviously that's kind of like my setup. I think it's slightly out of date, but it's kind of good enough. Why is a struct? I don't know. Why? I assume what is a struct, and it's just a way of conceptually it's just a way of introducing a new type into the type system. But I guess more practically, it's just a way of bundling data together that you can access via a name. Okay, so our loaded model data. We're going to have to give it a name. So let's say if... I think we might change this. I'm already thinking this might not be the best way of doing it, but let's do... Alright, let's just build this first and get the autocomplete fixed, because that's one of the issues I do have with this setup. So let's go down, model's not a class or namespace, so where we at? Model loader 13, model loader. Model, because it's model loader. That is correct. Okay, let's just get those built. Right, okay, so fix that. Okay, that should catch up in a second. So, I don't know, if loaded, I don't know why my autocomplete's not working, that's not particularly helpful. Right, it contains. So this is where we potentially get that speed up. It's not having to construct a string, although it would have small string optimization. I guess it would alleviate the need for memcopy. Anyway, actually no, I don't even want to do that. I want to do const auto loaded equals loaded models dot find cube. And then if loaded does not equal stood ranges send loaded models, then we can just return let's see, what is it? It's going to be dot vertices equals loaded second dot vertices, and then indices is going to be fv the same. I think the implicit cast will, I think this will implicitly convert these to the span, which will give us non-owning. I got so many messages coming in. I'm trying to keep up. I do apologise if I miss your message. So been a long time since I wrote C or C++. Does a long differ between Windows and Linux? That is one of the ones that does differ. A long is 32-bit on Windows and 64-bit on Linux. I think that's right. Which is why you always use the fixed with integer types, because it's not portable. Okay, let's just see if that builds. Yes, the ever elusive long. Okay, that's fine. Likes that. And then I guess if not, so this is where I want to do some of the template magic. So what we've got in mesh at the moment is all this. I'm going to split all these out into separate vertices, and then just basically bung all these up in an anonymous namespace. No, that's not what I wanted. Actually, I might just put them in line here. And I'll tell you for why in a second. I'm just going to copy this from. I asked the Oracle earlier what they all were. What do I want? I want hash include vector 3. And I want vector 3. Sorry, vector 3 positions. Was that? And then hopefully this will be one of the last bits of like annoying formatting we have to do. And then and then let's do QA FA Q. Okay, let's just see if that worked. Okay, fine. So now we can do norm A. Norm. Okay. Norm A. There you go. Right. Okay. Okay. So that should be the positions. I don't know why it's formatted like that. Am I missing a comma somewhere? I don't think auto positions would work because I don't think you can do that with the array syntax, and then you can't just deduce this because this will deduce this to a std initializer list. No, I do not do YouTube full time. This is just a part-time hobby for me. Okay, so now let's do this same deal. Vector 3. Now, why I'm splitting this out will make sense in a second. He says. When we get into the minor template magic, it's not that bad. Oh, steady. It's not what I did on the other one, was it? No. I'm doing this, so I don't have to do it again. Is this still a macro? It is. Nice. I don't know why that's so weird. Oh, it's because it's formatted like that. Okay, fine. I will remove. You still, because of the UVs, you can't just have 8 points. You have to have more. So this is effectively still removing the duplicates. Yes, it's the Dracula theme. I get a lot of questions on that. It is. I'm very funny about themes because I really value like consistency, and so when deliberating like what theme to kind of commit to, I have to make sure, at least in my mind, that it's kind of got high availability for all sorts of different things. And Dracula has like crazy support for like loads of different things, which is one of the reasons I like it. The other is that I really like the colour pink. And okay, right, so now I don't think my macro will work because I hard coded it for 3 comments, which is a bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. We can do 2f that, in that, delete to the end, quit the macro, drop down, check it works, visual select those. Nope, not that. That's not what I want. Control V, up we go. Go into normal mode, say run the macro across all the lines, and boom. Right, okay. So now we've got the component data that we need for. Oh, actually, I'm missing the indices, aren't I? So let's go start u int 32 t indices. That, and then up. I should have kept my macro. QA 3f dot j QA 3fa in, put that in there, end the macro, go down, going to commit. I'm just going to assume it's going to work for all of them. Norm a, okay. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, it doesn't need, it's just a flat array, isn't it? Sorry, I've got myself confused. There we go. We're going to load the model values from a file, but I still want to keep the cube as just like hard coded in, just because the way I'm kind of doing a lot of this, the refactoring is like get something to work and then improve it. So I don't want to debug the model loading at the same time I'm debugging the refactoring of how we load models. So kind of keeping it fixed just for the cube provides me an opportunity to check all that refactoring works first, and then we can start loading from a file. So I hope that makes sense. So yeah, it's more for convenience. These we're good citizens, and these should be const. Okay, right. So basically, let's get up our vertex data. Our vertex data consists at the moment of a vector 3, and a UV, which is 2 floats. But in the future, we're almost certainly going to want to expand this. We're probably going to want bitangents and tangents, and maybe we want to bring back the color, or maybe we want to bring something else. And basically, all that what you saw me do there, I don't want to have to do every single time. So I'm going to see if we can basically find a way of just specifying. Also, say we wanted to change the order of these for whatever reason, maybe packing, who knows. With the way we have with here, I'd have to change all these every time, and I don't want to do that. So let's go template class args, okay, and then do stud vector game vertex data vertices, and then let's take args. So let's take some number of arguments, okay? So this is just a template function which is just going to take some number of arguments. And from here, we should be able to return the args piped into std views zip transform. And this will take a templated lambda of the separate args. Okay. And this will return a game vertex data that stood forward a args. Okay, I think that's what we want. I'll explain all that in a second, and then we should be able to just pipe that to std ranges to std vector. Okay. Let me just make this actually look like real code. What am I missing? Oh, hang on. No, I want zip transform of args dot dot dot. Right, I think that's what I want. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So what zip transform does is it takes effectively n streams of data, n ranges of data. Doesn't matter what they are; they just have to conform to a range, and then it will produce. It will call a function on each like cross row of those as a tuple. So what this will do is it will basically, if I pass it, well, let me just call it. Hopefully, it makes sense. So what we can do is we can do const auto vertices equals what did I call it? Vertices, positions, normals, UVs. So what this should do, it doesn't. Oh, because figure that out in a second. What this in theory should do is it should take in a whole bunch of ranges of data, which will be our positions, normals, and UVs, and then it will basically call this lambda on the tuple of this one, and this one, and then the second one from this, and the second one from this, and the second one from this, and then the third one from this, blah, 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 blah. And then we just forward all those into the constructor of vertex data. So providing we pass the arguments in the right order of the constructor, then this lambda here will produce a vertex data with each like cross row of elements, and then we just convert it all to a vector at the end. If we need physics, it will be a library. Yes, I'm not going to do physics. I started implementing my own physics engine before, and I think to do it live, we're at stream like what 20 now. I think if we did our own physics engine, we'd be at stream 20 and have like almost like nothing and nowhere near something capable of a game. So I will use something like that. Okay, so this is almost certainly like wrong in the sense. Missing a cheeky forward. Methinks. Tried to get away from me there. It looks like token soup, and it's a lot of dots and angles and brackets and stuff, but this should be like, this basically means it's kind of like, if we have to now add, I don't know, like I said, by tangent, we can just pass this in here. It doesn't like this for some reason. Why is it not like this? No, I do not enjoy implementing friction and momentum by myself. No. Vertices. Oh, have I just... Is it just literally because I've called it the same thing as the function? I'm going to do it in line in the struct. I'm going to place it back into the map anyway. I'm hoping the only error is that it's an unused variable. I have zipped wrong. I have zip transformed wrong. How have I zip transformed wrong? Oh, is the lambda first? It's the lambda first. Okay, fine. Apologies. I do hate the way Clang formats lambdas though. Formats ranges though. It's quite gross. Okay, oh, that blends. Okay, so that hopefully that's just a nice way. So now when we do our model loading, if we can just extract out the positions and the normals and the UVs, etc., from whatever file format we have, we can just bung it into this little bit of semi magic here, and out pops a vector of vertices in theory. So now we can do. Let's have a look. What's the one that returns you a reference to the thing you've just inserted? Is it in place? So I should be able to do const auto new item equals loaded models dot emplace vertices positions normals UVs. This needs to be a std vector. So actually now I can use my preferred naming scheme, which is auto indices equals std vector. I can actually use ctad there to deduce the. Oh no, we can't because it will assume it's an int, not an unsigned int. Literals deduced to an int by default. What am I doing? Loaded modules in place. That std move in indices. There's no sense copying it, so we've already created it. And now I should be able to do return dot vertices equals new item. That's the iterator, so I want to do dot second dot vertices, and then dot indices equals new item dot second dot indices, something like that. I'll let the compiler tell me how I got it wrong. Really? Oh, because the pair, it returns a pair of an iterator to a bool, so it's actually going to be first dot. It's going to be first dot second, isn't it? Absolutely gross. Throw a little arrow operator in there as well for good measure. Thanks, C++. They say C++ is hard to learn. What could be easier than first arrow second dot? I've been thinking a lot about what game it's going to be. I think it's a really good question. I've got an idea for like a puzzle game, where we can maybe just build out a couple of levels. So it's not going to be hugely complex, but I've got a couple of like interesting mechanics that I think would be fun to try and build out stream. I'm not talking about data. That was a bad aberration. That was just a mirage of the mind. So I've got a couple of ideas of at least some mechanics that might be fun to build out live, and then if they don't work as a game, then we'll just throw them away and start again. What is this? Oh, it's because... Oh, hang on. Have I been stupid? Have I just forgotten to give it a key? Oh yeah, no, I don't want v because I want to do it in place. I don't want to invoke a copy. Yeah, I didn't mean to use v. That was just to highlight the use case of it. I definitely want to do it in place. Do I need to do... Something like that. No, not vertex data. Sorry, loaded model data. And then probably some more curly braces. Oh, could be good. Could be onto a winner there. Nailed it. Absolutely crushed it. The problem was I was... mplace takes a variable number of arguments, and I thought I could basically piecewise move those in, forward those onto the constructor, but I think looking at it, it expects the key and then the value. So I just constructed the value in place, and then that will all get perfectly forwarded on. So that will effectively it should construct that all in place. Anyway, so now we've kind of got a lot of the boilerplate set up for when we want to do it, but now we need to actually check all this works. We need to kind of delete all this now. Let's go for the header file first. Header file is always more interesting. So mesh one's going to want to take this is going to want to take the do you wonder if mesh loader should itself return a mesh object and just be a factory for those rather than having to construct it all in place, rather than having to load the data. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I feel like we're loading the data just to pass it into mesh, and it's only really going to want to pass it into mesh anyway. Oh, I'm going to stick with this for now, but did I call it model loader? Have I already conflated my terminology? Fine. Yeah. Okay. Fine. What I tell you what, the way these normally tend to work when we're live is like the first stream when we try something new, it's just like absolutely like go hell for leather. We write loads of C++, and when we get to the last half hour and it gets pretty frantic and absolutely hammering away, and then the next stream we kind of take a step back, take a breather, and refactor it. So I'm probably just going to keep going for like that for the moment. I don't know. Did the font size change? Const vertex. No. I definitely want to unify my concepts of mesh and models. Model data. I don't need any of this now, so just delete all that. And then what we got? Const model data. Because also, I guess something. Something to point out. My view of mesh is that it doesn't own the original vertex data. It literally, its job is to upload that to the graphics card and store that in a buffer. So meshes are kind of, I guess, cheapish to copy around. Not that we would probably be copying them, but more importantly, like I don't have to, in theory, I don't have to keep the model data in memory once it's uploaded to the GPU. So we could, our mesh loader could clear its cache after a certain point, and all the meshes would keep working. So that's kind of my thought about this. And it also means that if we created multiple mesh objects, they're not each carrying around with them all the baggage of all the vertex data in memory. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm going with that. So now our VBO, because we have a unified, let me bring this over here, close this, we use a unified buffer for both the vertex data and the index data. So there's no separate VBO and EBO, it's just called VBO. It probably should just be called buffer. So the size of the run, so we're going to want this to be, because they are, actually this is easy, sorry, I'm getting myself confused. We should be able to do data dot vertices dot size bytes plus data dot indices dot. So that's one of the nice things about using a span, is we can get the size of the bytes that the span represents, because it's just a contiguous range. Oh Christ, I only clicked on OBS then, and God knows what would have happened. And then the index count is merely, I think we're still going to need that cast, but this is now data dot indices dot size, because it's just the number of indices. Yeah, exactly, yeah. It goes all my personal data, docs myself. And then the index offset is data dot, I do try and like sign out of stuff and keep my like desktop relatively benign when doing this. Okay, I think that's fine. Oh, I don't need that. We spent about an hour trying to make sure we didn't need that. And now we should be able to do data dot vertices and data dot indices. This is complaining. I don't know why. Is it a casting issue? Is that an explicit cast assignments issue? Sure. Okay, see if that blends. See if that blends. How am I going to handle model formats? Carefully. Oh, of course, actually I need to wire this up into main, don't I? So now I need to go hash include. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to fix the naming of this at some point. Where's the resource loader? I feel like I should probably go with game model loader. Model loader. And then this should have model loader dot cube. GL float and GL false just hash defines. It's kind of platform specific what they are. I think most of the time they align up to what you expect them to. Okay, cool. So that works. So that's kind of about an hour in, but we've done the refactor work. Sorry, it's Christmas, so I do have a glass port. Let's just comment all that. Let's just commit all that first. So it's going to be sort of refactor model mesh, what do you want to call it, loading. Oh yeah, so the file format is I've got some models that I've purchased off CG Trader, and I think they are FBX files, so we're going to use that, and then I'm going to use Assimp for loading them, or at least to start with, to kind of get us going somewhere. Let me show what we're going to do. I guess it's really like semantically what's the difference between mesh and model. I kind of feel like mesh is the raw data and model owns a transform, owns one or more meshes as well as the transform. So this really should be mesh loader. This is incorrectly named. This 100% should be mesh loader, I think. And I think the other one should possibly be oh, no, because the entity has the transform. Oh, who knows? Who knows? I don't know why this is taking so long to load. Okay. Let me find what I was going to load, so we need to kind of see where we're getting to. How do I in small and make this a bit smaller? Okay, so here's some assets I purchased. Just like crates and barrels and sort of random things you find in a factory. I don't think they're particularly they are textured, but for some reason Maya is having a fit, as it often does, and won't load them. There is even a new crate. But I thought we'd try and load some of these in. Annoyingly, I just get given one FBX file with them all in, and they're all kind of here. There's even a beer keg. I kind of want to try and get one of these metal barrels, so we're going to have to try and pass this FBX scene, pull out the individual mesh model, whatever you want to call it, and then see if we can load that. But I think we're kind of cool if we one of these, and then I've got some textures to kind of slap on it as well as some normal maps, which we need to implement as well at some point. So kind of the aim for this stream and next stream is to have one of these loaded with albedo, specular map, and normal map. I think that's kind of a good place to end the pre-Christmas streams on. So I'm just going to close that because it's going to use up all my memories. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to need a library because I'm not parsing my own file formats. So let's do fetch content declare Assimp git repository. Let me just go repository. Good old Roy. Assimp and then git tag whatever their latest is. What's their latest release? How have they tagged them? v5.4.3, one of my favorites. Fetch content make available Assimp, and then CMake target link libraries. I'm hoping, because I think Assimp itself is a CMake project, it should just, he says it should just work. Bring that in. Alright, just let's build. Oh, I meant to actually try and head this off at the pass a little bit because it gets a little bit miserable. I'm just gonna, I don't copy and paste a lot of code, but I just really, I've used these in a previous project before. Basically, this kind of strips down what Assimp's going to build, so I don't care about its internal tooling, I don't care about its samples, its tests. I do want it to build its own zlib. I don't want, so Assimp will support loads and loads of file formats, but they have to compile them all. So basically, don't build everything by default, and then just build the FBX one. And then every time we need a new one, we can just add that. So hopefully that is enough to kind of speed up the compilation a bit. How do I decide when to build versus import? I think it comes down to, for me personally, whether I think I can build it in a reasonable amount of time on stream, and it still kind of be useful and interesting and entertaining and engaging and all those other things you have to kind of do live. Like, let's say we want to do absolutely everything from scratch, we would probably have to write our own JPEG or PNG decoder, and that just sounds like a lot of work for kind of, again, minimal gain when I could just bring in a library. But for stuff like the rendering, I think there's a lot of value in knowing how low-level rendering works and knowing how to drive OpenGL. So I think it's kind of worth doing that from scratch. So really, I think most of the rendering we'll do from scratch, and then we'll kind of bring in a few other bits and pieces. But also, we did all the windowing from scratch and how to resolve the OpenGL functions and how to write a Windows message handler. So there's a lot of cool stuff I think we've done so far from scratch. But yeah, it's kind of at my whim which one is which. We're going to use FBX because that's what I've got. No, still no custom window frame. We're gonna hold out. It's gonna be the last thing we do. Oh, interesting. So someone on YouTube is watching this on phone. How is the like font size and like the compression and stuff? Is it all legible? What's on screen? Because I always kind of a bit paranoid that, not paranoid, but I'm always concerned that the font size is too big or too small or not usable. So I'm kind of curious if anyone is watching this on mobile how they kind of fare with it and whether they can follow along. Okay, so now it's readable in a landscape. Nice. Okay, cool. So let's move from downloads. I can't remember what I just called it. Scene. Hold on one moment. Caller. Uploads. Download, upload. Oh, Christ. Upload industrial warehouse pack FBX, and we'll move that into assets. We'll call it something. I think we'll just call that like warehouse scene dot FBX. So I'll just move that there to start. So we've got our warehouse scene, so we can now start to load that. Cool. Okay, let's call that interesting because I guess I probably can see the device breakdown, but I've never really looked at it in the YouTube analytics. Where are we at? Where are we at? Okay, so this is built because we should be able to see this now in depths. Assimp, blah blah blah. Let's think about this. Let's close this down and go the now poorly named model loader. I think we're going to want to have a reference to the resource loader. Okay, and like let's leverage all the file IO code we've already written. So let's have and I don't really expect this class to be copyable anyway because it's got an internal cache, so that's fine. So we will have now ourselves a wee little constructor. And again, we're going to do lazy loading. So we're going to say auto load. Don't love it. Stood string view model name, not const model data. So this is the API I'm envisioning to start us with. So we'll be like, we'll have a model loader. It will have the ability to load resources from disk, and then we're basically going to say, load me this model name. The problem is that we're going to need. I think we're actually going to need something. I think we're going to need two things. I think we're going to need string view model file, right? Because that's going to have to go to the resource loader and load it, and then from there we will parse it and pull out this single model name. Because a model like an FBX file might have multiple models in it. We could have maybe a single constructor, like a single argument overload, if we know that there's only ever going to be one model, but I think this gives us the flexibility we want. So let's make it so. Make it so. model loader. Sure. Oh, that's a lot of hard-coded values. Okay, so where we're at, we're going to want the resource loader. Resource loader. Resource loader. Resource loader. Resource loader. Nailed it. Crushed it. And then offload. We'll take that. Go there. Go there. Stick that there. Put some new lines. Make this part of the class. Go there. Do some formatting. Right, I think we are hot to trot. We use a file system path in resource loader, but resource loader will eventually become more abstract and it might not load from a file system. So the idea is that you load strings and binaries by name. What that name means is kind of the responsibility of the resource loader. So it might be in a Win32 resource, it might packed into Win32 resource. It might load it from a database. It might put it over the network. But the interface I want is like you give it a name, and then how that is backed is kind of irrelevant to you. So that's why the resource loader takes a path. So I'm kind of doing what I think you're suggesting, but I'm allowing myself that extra abstraction later on. What about texture normal mapping? For the moment, this is just responsible for loading the model data. We will just load the textures separately and slap them on. So it kind of relies on us as the user to know what textures to do. I think FBX will embed that information for you, and we might extend that later. But for now, let's keep things simple. Let's just load some vertices and some normals, and then we'll just manually just slap a texture on it. That was a lot of words. Okay. Right. Now, again, sort of when people talk about how much time do I spend prepping for these streams, not a lot. I have used Assimp before, so I have some notes up from when I did it before, and I did also ask the Oracle to kind of remind me how to do it as well. So we'll give it a go from there. Gonna need, let's see, it's found the Assimp header, so that's always a good sign. I like the consistency with their names. Okie dokie. Let's do Assimp importer. And then we can do const auto scene equals importer dot read. No, I don't want read file. I think I want read from. Is it read from memory? Read file from memory, because I'm not giving it a file handle. I'm going to give it a buffer that I've already. So in fact, actually, let's do const auto model file data equals resource loader dot load binary model file. I agree, I'm not a massive fan of uppercase in file names, but that's a personal preference of mine. Okay, fine. So now we should be able to do importer.read from memory, and this takes a model file data dot data. I don't want to talk about it. Model file data dot size. And then the flags I want are AI process. Can I global namespace this? Triangulate. Basically, where are those declared? Is it in post process? Basically, there's no guarantee that the model that I've downloaded off the internet is in triangles, and my entire rendering pipeline is set up to render triangles. So if you pass this flag to Assimp, it will make sure that it all comes out as triangles, which is nice. Yes, thank you. Okay, so we've got a scene, whatever a scene means in this case. Then I think we can iterate over it. Well, actually, I think we first of all need to check we actually managed to load anything. So let's go include error. Okay, so let's check that. What do I need to check? I think there's a bunch of stuff I need to check. Let's go ensure. Oops, steady. Not quite sure what happened there. I think someone just joined. Gordon Fleming, thank you very much for being a YouTube member. Much appreciated. Hope you're enjoying. I hope everyone's enjoying this. I certainly am enjoying this. I was very. I think a lot of people are quite nervous about streaming. I didn't know how it was going to go, but the fact that pretty consistently 150 to 200 people show up twice a week to listen to me typo my way through some C++ is quite nice. Let's check that we ensure we got a scene and not scene flags AI EIO scene incomplete. So let's just check we processed everything, and I think we want to check we got a root node. Let's just leave that there. Failed to load model model file model name. Ensure, this comes up a lot because it's something I wrote. Why is that? Does it not like me scoping that? Oh, hang on. It takes a. Oh, why is it not? It should. It takes a predicate and then some sort of message, and basically if the predicate fails, it builds this all into exception. We could actually improve this now that we know how to use log. I need to. It's on my to-do list. It basically, if the predicate fails, it throws an exception with a custom message. So there aren't really any services. I just sort of declare everything in main and hope for the best. Well, I'm not quite sure why it thinks this is there, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so that should load. So now I think we can do. Let's do const auto loaded. What do they call it? I think they call it meshes. Equals std span const AI mesh, and then we'll pass into that the scene m meshes and scene num. What really weird thing about Assimp is it basically has everything as a public member, or a lot of things are, even including like the ones that are prefixed with the member variable. I find this very weird because it's not something you see very often. If I was to make a variable public, I would not preface it with m. I don't think, personally. We're using 4.6 for OpenGL. So now for const auto, I think this needs to be a pointer actually, because it's actually an array of pointers. For const point auto mesh in loaded meshes. Let's do this. Log.h. And let's just turn off some of our really egregious OpenGL logging so we can actually see what's going on. So let's do log debug found mesh, and then I think we can do mesh dot, doesn't like that, name. Well, let's build it and see what happens. Yeah, I think I said 4.5 in the previous stream, but I do actually have it loaded as 4.6. I wouldn't be able to tell you what the actual difference between the two of them is, but we're definitely pretty modern. We're using DSA. Got all the latest tricks. What is it not like? Constant illegal token on the right of that. So that's on 89. It really doesn't like. What is that then? Is that a, oh, it's hash defined. That's why. Ugh. Thanks. Main is indeed now unhappy because I watched back one of the VODs the other day just to check something, and I pulled some like strange faces as I'm thinking, and I never really thought about it. Also, actually, question for everyone, as I have your undivided attention. I was looking back at one of the VODs, I think it was from the last stream, and I noticed that on YouTube the audio is slightly out of sync with the video, and I don't know if that's just the way I recorded it or the way YouTube transcoded it. I'm kind of curious, is the audio in sync live? I assume someone would tell me if it's not, but I kind of just, for my own sanity, can someone confirm that this is in not the band, but is synchronized? Yeah, we've got shaders. We got loads of shaders. We've got shaders all day. We've got shaders for days. It's very out of sync. Oh dear. Oh, interesting. No one is. Oh. That is really upsetting. I'd never. Okay, I'll have a look at settings. Some people are. I'm kind of new to the whole streaming thing, and I am dual streaming as well. I don't know if that has an issue on it. I'll have a look at see if there's some settings I can tweak, but I kind of wish I hadn't asked now. So I guess what YouTube is preserving is the sync issue. I wonder how other people seem to be fine with it, because I've got a pretty good, decent internet connection. I've got like a gig down and 100 up, so it should be enough to kind of deal with it. If anyone is like a streaming expert, do please reach out to let me know if there's like settings I should be tweaking. I can delay the video or audio. Interesting. How would I know though? By how much? I guess just like trial and error live. Function does not take 2 arguments. Mesh loader. Oh, so it starts at the top. Mesh loader 94. Why is it not like me constructing a? Oh, has that got to be an address of the pointers rather than the pointer itself? Okay. Maybe start the next stream. We'll play around with some of the settings and see if we can kind of get stuff in line. I'll be interested to know if it's the same delay on Twitch and YouTube, because then it's probably a me problem, right? I have it set to like low latency on everything. While trying to map. I think I'm having a funny 5 minutes here. What am I trying to do? I thought it'd be easier just to create a span over all the data because I know the size and I know where they're all sat. Mmeshes. What is the type of mmeshes? It is a double pointer of AI mesh, so it is an array, effectively an array of pointers. That's correct. So actually, I should be able to just that should be right. I feel sorry if anyone has to learn C++ in 2024 from scratch. There's so much to learn, and there's so much conflicting like advice. Only because like best practices change. I really don't know what I'm doing wrong here. This is not my type. This is is it namespaced? No. Oh, weird. I like how they've. Oh, that's absolutely terrifying. Why have they namespaced some of their stuff but not others? Why have they chosen a C style like name prefix? Oh, weird. Right. Okay. I'm getting upset now. What am I doing wrong with my span? Unless it doesn't like the initializer list, but that seems strange. What is this? Is it a casting issue? What type is this? It's an unsigned int. I would expect the size type to be a size T, which means it's going to get bigger, so that's fine, because the implicit cast doesn't lose us any precision. Sorry, I'm kind of just going through my own mental process here. Trying to match the argument list. AI mesh star. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right. I think I want a span of const AI mesh pointers starting here. Oh, is it? Oh, I bet it's nope. Oh, I was convinced that was it. I'll just do it with a for loop and an integer in a minute. I'm really not that fussed about doing this, but I just kind of annoying. It annoys me that I don't know. What is this? Did you see this error because argid is out of range? What is that? What is that? Thanks, Microsoft. I'll take that with STL. Is it just not like I'm being const? Oh, have I? Oh, wait a minute. Let's just remove that, so we're not getting confused. No, Mayor's not free, but so actually, that's a really good point. I try to only use tools that kind of everyone can use for free, because I think that's like it's fair and it's more approachable. I have the indie license for Mayor because I earn, like, I do not earn whatever the threshold is to have the main one, because I just do this for free. I just know Mayor better than I know Blender, and I don't know Mayor particularly well, and I just do not have the mental capacity to learn Blender's shortcuts. So that is one of the few page tools I will use, is like Mayor and Photoshop. But there are, of course, free alternatives. Okay, was it actually the log line? Interesting. Okay, so now that I have access to the mesh, so what is m name? Oh, it's an AI string. Of course it is. Whoa, that is. I've never seen Seastra capitalized like that before. Man, Assimp's great fun. I'm enjoying this. Yeah, we're going to do Phong shading. We've got Phong shading. It's already done. Let's return back. Okay, right. So let's just return something. Oh, that's sad. Your code execution cannot proceed because Assimp VC143 MTDL was not found. No, I did not want to fix this. Ugh, right, okay. Who's a CMake expert? Who can tell me where I've gone wrong? Like, oh, because I... oh no, that is right. Yeah, so Seastra lowercase is what everyone else calls it. Seastra with an uppercase is what Assimp has decided to call it. Oh, just ask the Oracle if they know this one. New chat. Why get Assimp VC143? Oh, is it the MTD? Is it compiling it against the multi-threaded debug runtime, and I'm not building the rest of mine against it? Is that the issue? Yeah, I want to link. Oh yes, let's just. You're right. Sorry, you're absolutely right, and I should have done this before. I want to set. And now, is it specifically? Is it just build? I'm hoping it honors this. It's building a lot more. Oh, it's because it's going to rebuild it all as a static library. Yeah, to be honest, that's what I want. I prefer to build things as static libraries anyway. So yeah, good call. Okay, right. Boom. Still there. Actually, what does the log say? So we've got... oh, because we've not actually tried to load anything yet. Haha. Fool. Let's get rid of our scene as we know it. And let's do entities.emplaceback. Const auto mesh equals mesh loader dot load what was it, warehouse scene dot fbx, and then I can't remember what I called it now. What does it say? Barrel 2? Something like that. Actually, no. Sorry. I've just realised what I've done. We can keep all of them there. It might be fun to see loads of them. Instead, what we want to do is change this here to be dot load warehouse scene dot fbx and then barrel 2. Whatever. It's gonna. I don't actually care. I just want it to build and run so I can see the log. That was fine. Failed to load Beret, obviously. It's a little bit sad. I was expecting it to pull out some logs. Log debug found meshes loaded meshes dot size. Oh, we actually throw an exception. Failed to load model. Oh, it's actually failing. Okay, it's failing to load it. Why is it failing to load it from the mod loader on line 89? Okay, this is failing. Interesting. Okay, why is this failing? Yeah, I'm suspecting the path is not correct. Do I not? But I do throw if it can't open the file though. But let's just check. Warehouse scene.fbx. I'm just gonna copy that. Main. I'm pretty sure that's right. Like I said, it would throw if it couldn't find it. Are there log flags for Assimp? Assimp log flags. So I can do AI and right, okay. Gotta go and then do scene and then do logger. Oh, I think they're uppercase files are HPP files and their lowercase files are H files. Sure. Okay. So let's do AI. Apparently this is a thing. I don't know why it's not finding it. I don't think it's just going to log to stood out though. Oh, I can. Apparently, I can get it to log to stood out. Let's do Assimp. And nope. Logger and log stream, but it's not particularly obvious where those go. Assimp logging. There's also apparently AI attach. I don't know why it's not finding any of these functions, unless I've just got the wrong header. Let's just double check that it's. I'm not falling foul of some weird flags. Let's just check if it actually gave me a scene object. It really doesn't. It doesn't. And so this scene is. Null. Yeah, I don't know what the default logger does though. Like, do I just construct it? Do I have to register it? Do I have to stick it somewhere? It's not particularly obvious what I need to do. I'm just. So refile from memory, let's just see, that takes a buffer, a length, and some flags. This is quite well documented. Pointer to the file data, length of the buffer in bytes. I'm not sure what you mean. Create what, log what, then kill what? Just create a default logger. Got default log stream, but that's an enum. I'm just seeing if they've got an example. Oh, they might have a sample here. Apparently I want this from their own docs. So I must be just missing some headers. Of course, it was the Assimp cimport.h. File extension not known. No suitable reader found for the file magic. What? What? Yeah. So, I mean, it says it's a FBX model version 7400. I mean, I don't really know what more to. I don't really know what to do. I don't really know what to say. That's one thing we could do is just build all the importers in case I'm missing something somewhere, because I believe Assimp will kind of, yeah, that's going to build all these. This will take a little bit longer. Alright, let's just build this and we'll see where we get to. Nah, it does not like this. Just ask that. I just assumed that a random file I downloaded off the internet would just work. It seems a bit unfair it doesn't. Do you stream on Twitch or just YouTube? I dual stream on both. Yeah, there's more hacking videos coming in the new year. I'm currently started work on the next one, but it's proving a little bit more trickier than I thought. So I'll just sort of have a play around with it over Christmas, and hopefully sometime in January there'll be a new video. I'm kind of at a bit of a loss because my entire stream was sort of centered around this working. Let's have a look. Purchases. Can I download it in another format? Industrial warehouse. What's everyone's favourites? I've got. What is it? Well, that's the pack. Do I want the scene? Is that different? File. In this, what did this download itself as? Oh, I'm so confused. That's the Industrial Warehouse Volume 1 scene. Oh, because I moved the other one, didn't I? So what's the what's the file of that warehouse? That's still a FBX file. Right, well, I've got a choice of 3ds, blend, MTL, or max. Obj, I guess. Download the obj file. Should we give the obj one a go? I don't really. I'm very unopinionated in 3D file formats because I'm kind of given to that they're all terrible. Move. See, download, uploads, files. Industrial has for obj, and then we'll move that into assets and we'll call that warehouse.obj. And luckily, because we have installed all the importers, we should be able to just change this to obj. See if that blends. I don't know what the o/ means. This is sort of Twitch nomenclature I'm familiar with, but I can only assume it's good news. Found 21 meshes. Boom, nailed it. Okay. Oh, it's a wave. Cool, thank you. I see. There you go. Got much to learn. I wanted metal barrel 2 dot underscore mesh. So now let's do that and finish in. Nope. Oh, I hate that. Right, let's do metal barrel 2, copy, and insert. Right, okay, now let's finish off this. I assume this is going to be unhappy when we build it. So this should be unhappy because it can't create the buffer because you've just returned an empty buffer. Okay, fine. Now we're back on track. Model loader. So keep the debugging in there. So now we need to pass out all these bits of data and load them in. We need to do basically this for each one. So we're going to say load mesh mname cstra. Okay, if it finds it, then we'll return it. If not, then we'll load it. And if we get to the end here, we'll just ensure false. Failed to load from that model name model file. I guess technically we should actually do this first so we don't pass the file, but we'll optimize that in a minute. I'm just kind of keen that based on time. I'd actually quite like to get this loaded. Okay, so how do we actually now get some more mesh data out of here? Yeah, I've only just copied the model file. There's an MTL file as well. I suppose we could put that in as well. I just want to get the vertex data out at the moment. Stuff like material properties and textures and stuff we'll do in a second. My main concern is just passing out some vertices. So let's do I'm trying to think if we can might be able to do this. Might be able to do this with some ranges. Let's do. Oh, lost me thing. Right. Vertices equals stirred span then what is an M vertice when it's at home? AI vector 3D. Okay, so let's do the span of AI vector 3. And then do mesh m vertices mesh m vertices plus mesh m num vertices. Right, so that should give us a span over the vector 3s, because I believe this is, why is that? I thought we just established that was the thing. Yeah, we'll probably go for another. I imagine we'll probably go to a half 10, because I kind of want to get this. I really want to get a model loading, even if we don't get a chance to fully texture and everything. So I'll probably go for another 30-40 minutes, I imagine. So that's a pointer to an AI vector 3D. Where's that when it's at home? That is that in a Assimp vector 3. Okay, this will all make sense in a minute, or at least I'm hoping it will. I don't know why it won't find my AI vector 3. Like, I really don't understand that. What does the compiler say? Oh, one problem at a time. If we need animations, we'll pick another file format. I'm literally just like one problem at a time. I'm kind of hoping not to do animations because I've done that before. It's a massive pain. Is that namespaced differently? I really don't get this library. It's such a... Like, oh, it's 3D. Oh, it's 3D. Right, that's painful. So, and then I'm going to want to pipe that to stirred ranges. Sorry, stirred views transform. Const auto e. Actually, no. Let's do const auto to vector 3 equals const auto const AI vector 3D v return vector 3 v dot x v dot y. So this is all this is doing is just converting their specific format into our format. So then we should be able to transform that to vector 3. Okay. And then in theory we should be able to do the same for normals. So AI vector 3D mesh m, I think it's m normals. M normals, m num. Oh, does it not have m num normals? I guess it's the same as the number of vertices, right? So I've used Assimp and FBX before to do animations. I literally, this one I'm very surprised I didn't load it. It's something I'll have a look off stream, see if I can figure out the issue. And then finally, the why I'm doing all this spanning will hopefully make sense in a second. Text, texture chords, and these are nice, they're the same. Okay. Although actually, is that true? I'm not convinced that's true, based on what I've... No, it's an array, isn't it? So mesh array contains 0 to AI max number of texture cores channel per vertex. So this is going to require a custom another lambda. That's fine. To UV equals const AI vector 3D. Christ, what's this going to get? This is going to get an array of pointers. So this is going to be getting a pointer as a reference to a pointer. Dot x equals v naught dot x v 1 dot y. I'm not sure. I'm absolutely not convinced that's right. Just to push that off for a little bit longer. Okay, so and now we can do const auto UVs equals std span of AI vector 3D pointers mesh m texture chords mesh. Well, I'm just absolutely determined to not have to write a loop. Mesh I guess again it's num vertices, right? Pipe to std views transform to UV. And now we should be able to basically just do this. Because these are all ranges, right? And this are the thing that we wrote right at the beginning of the stream, takes things that look like a range. This should just work, and these will get lazily evaluated as well. I'm missing probably loads of stuff. Yes, I am. Right, now how do I get the indices? I think this is a little bit trickier. I think I have to do this. T. Not sure how conducive this is to ranges. I'm just going to do it the way I've done it before, just in the interest of time. But it might be fun to go back and see if we can make this a little bit more range friendly. Mesh faces. With each face, whatever it defines as a face, which I assume is probably a triangle. Const auto face equals mesh m faces I, and then for auto j equals 0u, j is less than face dot and num indices j, and then we can do indices dot pushback face dot m indices I. It basically maintains an array of all the indices, but you have to pull those indices out of the face. I think it's something strange like that. And now we should. In fact, actually, I don't. Indices start at 1, do they? Have I got other mistakes? Yeah, that is. Hold on. Should be m indices on 126. You're right, it should. Okay, this is. I've actually written quite a lot of code without compiling it, so I'm very. And that should be m num faces. There you go. It's not even an object parser. It's driving an object parser. Okay. Yeah, I figured it was going to be this one. This one's got a really weird type. At least the compiler will tell us. Trying to match the argument list to a. It's a pointer to a const pointer. So it's an array of vector 3D pointers, which makes sense, I think, because you have a text called slot I'm going to cheat. And I'm just going, again, for the interest of time, I'm going to UVs equals stirred vector UV for, so I equals 0u, I is less than mesh m. It might, sometimes it's actually, although it's cleaner to use a range, it's sometimes conceptually easier to write out as a loop and then optimize it later. And then I want to do UVs dot push back mesh m texture chords 0. Then you have to index it on the particular vertex you want and then do .x. That's why it's such a pain. Okay. Let's see what happens. Oh, so close. I probably can't tell that throws an exception. It's also, I've realised that's wrong as well because it will stop at the first one it finds. I think it needs to keep going. 103, where's the unreachable code? What? How is that unreachable? Anyone? Any thoughts? Oh, yes, you're right. So actually, yeah, thank you. So once we've loaded them all, we then actually now need to go and do this again, effectively. So we'll load all the models in place, and that needs to be with mesh mname .cstra. Okay, load them all. Ideally, we should do this first before we go and parse it all to try and find it. But I think let's just see if we can get it working first. Oh, ++i and I++ almost don't make any difference unless they're specific overloads for that class, and they do something different. I was taught I++ when I started, and I've just habitually done it since then. Oof. Just died. So it still doesn't like this signature-based detection, like the magic, but it still doesn't like the file extension, but it has dropped down to, it has found that it's an obj file. Yeah, but like it's hit this line, right? So it's gone past the ensure, so it knows that it's loaded. I'd be very surprised if a compiler didn't make I++ and ++i do the same thing. It's just habit, as a sort of my personal idiosyncrasy, I'd say. I feel like it's crashing. Oh, that's wrong for a start. That should be. It's going to look for. What do we call it? Model name. That is not where I wanted that to be. But that's definitely not the problem. I mean, we'll put the MTL file there anyway, just to be on the safe side. But I don't think that's the issue. Does it say what the name of the MTL file it's looking for is? Unable to locate industrial warehouse scene object MTL. Okay, fine. Let's patch that out later. Move. Let's see. Users downloads. Study. upload files, industrial, obj metal to assets, and then what do we want to call it? We want to call it this. Okay, let's try that. Oh, that's a good point. It's actually not going to find it either because it's currently in my assets directory and it's going to be looking for this in the root directory. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's just copy it here. I think it's going to look for it in the current working directory, I guess. Again, I don't think this is the issue. I think, yeah, it's definitely not the issue. It's crashing somewhere. Yeah, import root directory is here, so we could change that. It found 21. It found 21 meshes. But I'm going to guess it's not getting here. Yeah, I'm like we're pipelining and setting up like a proper asset pipeline and moving everything to the right places like way down the line. At the moment, I just want to like hack something together to get it to work. Yeah, it's not there. Might have to get a debugger out for this because I cannot understand where it's going wrong. So it's found that. It's crashing on the first iteration, right? Because it's not coming back round again. Oh no, wait a minute, that's wrong anyway. So that should be. Oh, that's what am I doing? This is wrong. If I find, I don't want to return there. I just don't want to load it again, right? I don't think that's the problem, but basically what I want my debug back. And then we can say mesh mname.cstra is not in the cache. So we'll look for, we're going to try and load every single mesh in the scene. We'll first check if it's in the cache. If it's not in the cache, sorry, if it is in the cache, i.e. it's not equal to the end of the range, then we'll continue. If it's not in the cache, then we'll have to load it. All right. And then we'll be like, yeah, waiting, model data. Well, I think will be the next big thing. I think AI has still got some legs on it left in terms of being a buzzword and being a big thing. So I don't think we're quite at the end of that yet. So hand pallet truck is not in cache, and then it dies. Oh, I bet it's one of my ranges. I don't recommend doing this. I do recommend just getting out a debugger, but I don't really have like all that tooling kind of set up at the moment. Not for the whole WSL to Windows thing, so I'm just going to do it the wrong way. But what I really need to do is set up VS Code on Windows so that I can push to Git, put it down on that, and then use the debugger. So it likes loading UVs. Oh, hang on. Mesh has textured chords? I'm very surprised if the object file didn't have texture coordinates, because it gives you an MTL file for it. Yeah, loading UV, so it does have them. Yeah, it might be crashing on the faces. Yeah, it's crashing. I'm pretty sure. I've seen it. I've seen the issue. I'm gonna give a classic double loop issue. That should be a J. Unbelievable. What a fool. What an absolute fool. I don't see a lot. So it loads them all. What are we loading? Metal something. Wooden crate. Metal barrel 2? So it must have found the model name, right? Loading model name, right? Could be a scale issue. No, I did update the name in main. Yeah, Metal Barrel 2 Mesh 065. I'm loading that. Let's. I've no idea where I'm loading it. Absolutely not a clue. I'm hoping a render doc will tell me what is going on. Ugh, old code. What have I done? Right, hang on, give me a sec while I figure this out again. Nope. Downloads. Hang on 1 second while I find out where I've copied all this to game stream. That's it. Let's delete that and then just copy that back and open up render doc. And put the assets in there. I think that's right. Okay, right. Launch application, game, assets, launch. What do you mean? Oh, fine. Okay. So we get the blank screen, capture it. Let's see what's going on. So it's definitely drawing 12,600 faces. Okay, so it's definitely drawing something. It's definitely not filling in the buffer. I mean, let's have a look at mesh viewer. Oh, it's got what? Well, I've got 3. Yeah, where are the... Oh, the positions are all over the shop. They're quite... I think this might be massive. Yeah, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. Oh, what is... I'm stuck in... I think I am, but... It's huge, look at it. Oh my goodness, what is... It's trying to load the it's trying to load the barrel texture on it as well, for one. Oh my god. Oh, that is weird. Well, I think we can safely say we've got object loading. I just I have so many of them because I'm rendering them instead of the boxes, whereas before we were rendering like 100 boxes, I'm now wanted to render 100 barrels instead. So we've for those of you who are just tuning in, we've technically successfully doing mesh loading, but the scale is slightly off. So where I replaced all those cubes with a barrel, the scale is somewhat not great. What is the... That is a good community post, yeah. What I'm probably gonna do is do... That's so annoying because I can't disambiguate between those. Have I got other static ones? I'm gonna... Right. This... I'm gonna do tag dispatch just for the sake of simplicity. Get rid of that. And then get rid of that. And then I want scale. So that's going to be what? Scale dot x scale dot y, because it goes down the diagonals, right? const extra. So const, we named it twice. Okay. It's not FBX files anymore, they're object files. We gave up with FBX files because they were giving us grief. Assimp might support scaling when loading, but I need to do this anyway, so let's just do that. Where do I set the model? Entity owns the model matrix, right? Position and scale. So we'll do game vector 3 0.01 f. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Entity. Which way around do I multiply them? Is it position? Is it translation then scale? Is that right? Did I do scale then position? I always forget the order. I'm hoping someone will tell me. Well, if it all explodes, then we'll soon find out. I mean, we did do scale first, right? Column, major, transform, order. It's translate times rotation times scale, according to the internet. Need to move the positions as they're way off. I mean, I'm hoping if we can scale the things down to the size they were before, then they should just all be in the right place, right? There you go. I think there's a group of 3. I think it's a group of 3 barrels. I think we still got the lighting as well. The specular map is off because it's using the one from the barrel, from the crate. But I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. I think I'm pretty pleased with that. We could do with maybe boosting that now that we can. Just boost the ambient light a little bit, which is pretty sweet. Maybe boost the directional light a little bit. Gives a bit of a. I think the normal's wrong. It's hard to tell until we. I need to find. I want just a single barrel. What else do we have? What else was good? Got metal barrel mesh 064. I don't think the UV chords are wrong. I mean, they might be wrong, but the texture is certainly wrong. Still seems to be like groups of 3. But let's just see super quick. Can I find the textures for them? Textures. So we've got the textures are named something different. They're named barrels drum, right? So you got something like that. This is what I was kind of after. Let me just shrink that down a bit. That's called barrels drum albedo, but I don't see drum in here. Plastic drum. That's different though. These assets are poorly named. Oh, it's multiple assets. Oh, it's multiple assets in one texture. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is all the barrel drums, and it just knows how to pick which one it wants. But then I've also got barrel drums too. Yeah. Okay. I think, to be honest, I'm actually quite pleased with where we got to on this. Yes, it's always good to have a spare. But I think, I don't know, I think we for a couple of hours work, we've actually managed to refactor a bit and wrangle in some mesh loading. Let's just boost that a bit so we can see it. I think what I might do is see if I can break these down a bit more in Maya and have a kind of see if I can figure out what's going on, because I don't remember seeing them stacked like this in the Maya file. And then we'll do the normals, and then we'll do normal mapping. So I think next, I'm hoping to stream this Sunday, which will be the last one before Christmas. We'll tidy up the code, and we'll fix the. What I'll do is I'll probably have a play around with the loading, but not commit any code, because I'm trying to only commit code that I've written live. But I'll have a little play around with it, and then we'll do the normal mapping as well, I think. There's no Git repo for this at the moment, because I haven't decided if I do turn this into a game, then I probably won't want the source available. So it's kind of TBC. If it looks like it's not going to become a game, then I will definitely release it. Or I might, I don't know, maybe like a certain price for the game gets you the source code. I haven't quite decided what I want to do yet. So at the moment it's not available, but it doesn't mean it won't be in the future. Where is the... Let's just load the FBX file. Oh, interesting. Okay. They do have... This looks like different to the one I loaded earlier, but maybe not. So, interesting. Okay. I think there's multiple files. I think there's somewhere there's a scene, and there's somewhere they are kind of... I'm sure the file we loaded earlier had like separate palettes all separated out. I'll have a play around, and I'll get a better idea of what I'm doing with the assets late for the next stream, because this is definitely strange. That I would not expect all these to be kind of grouped together like this. I'd want them all individually. Where's that? But yeah, we'll load some barrels and we'll texture them and we'll normal map them, we'll specular them, and then we'll have a good time. I've also got a test. I've also brought from CG Trader like a warehouse scene pre-built. Again, I don't know if we're going to use it, but it might be nice to kind of build up a scene, throw some stuff in there, and maybe we can throw a physics engine in there and start having a little play around with stuff. Plastic. Yeah, I know, it's strange. Anyway, that's what I got today. Let me just close that before it eats all my RAM, because it is Mayor. Close that. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream today. Thank you very much for coming along. As always, very much appreciated. And yeah, we'll try and stream again on Sunday. I think for Twitch people who've just had an ad break, let me see if I can send you somewhere fun. I've lost all my controls. Who's online? Who's doing fun stuff? +18 game dev. A guy doing C++ with 9 viewers. Can we? Cool. Right. Anyway, thanks very much, guys. I hope you all had a good time. I look hopefully keep an eye on the community page, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. But yeah, we'll do some normal mapping soon, and we'll get this get a nice scene set up. Hope everyone has a good evening, and I'll catch you later.